All right. So we are back. You ever had like a busy, long week, especially at work, and at the end of the week, you feel really drained and just almost out of it? But at the same time, it's a great way to be thankful and it leads you to great time to relax. And we have reached the weekend, y'all. How many people love the weekends? It just gives you like a great opportunity just to catch up with things and to, ease the mind from, as I mentioned earlier, from, a long week of work or at home and so forth. So you already know, here with the life topics, and I might speak knowledge. Welcome to the Rob John Podcast, episode 13. Drum roll, please. Let's get this thing started here. Oh man, feels good to be back. Feels good to still be here, and it feels great to be right back on this mic. I miss this. I miss you guys. I hope everyone is enjoying their time right now. Man, time sure enough flies. I remember my mother used to always tell me, time flies when you're having fun. And she always used to say, man, where did time go? And I'll say back to her, I know it's like we're approaching the end of this year in 2022. Currently, we are in the month of November right now. It is fall season, also autumn. And man, I remember I was just outside earlier and it felt so good just to, feel that nice fall breeze. And it's just a great way to, man, it's like, I love watching like the four seasons, especially where I'm at. And I used to always tell myself, I always used to, always want to stay in like a hot climate. But I come to realize it might be somewhat kind of boring to be, to live in a hot region all year round. And, but at the same time, you gotta enjoy the sun and enjoy the nice weather in that warm region, all year round. But it's like where I live at right now, it's like, I like to experience all the four seasons. So, being able to see, the season as such as we're in right now, and that is autumn. And we just had summer that just passed by. And just like I stated earlier, it's nice to be in the sun and enjoying your time, with your family, or if you take nice trips and so forth, like going to the beach. But it's like a perfect balance because you're able to witness being in the four seasons like autumn, spring, summer, and also winter. And I know, as I mentioned earlier in my podcast episode, I remember I stated that we up here, especially in that New York weather, we have, very long winters. They seem to drag. But I noticed lately they've been happening like quick. So I'm hoping this year it'll happen, that we'll have a brief winter. So far, the weather up here is very nice. Currently, today's weather forecast is 70 degrees, so it's pretty warm. I remember I shared something on my social media earlier, and I stated that we're in somewhat of, peculiar weather, kind of strange weather. It reminds me of, it's like what we call up here Indian summer. It's like another brief summer that we go through in the fall season. But then at the same time, what's going to happen, and that is winter is going to creep up. And speaking of winter, it's coming just around the corner. I remember last year, I think it started snowing. I think it was like in the December time or something like that. December or January, somewhere around there. But like I said earlier, the winters up here are kind of long, but recently we've been having brief winters here. And what I like about winter is like being able to, be in the snow. It kind of reminds you of, being a kid playing in snow and seeing you remember when we were young, we used to always, especially when Christmas time came up, we always wanted it to snow, especially on Christmas Day. So maybe this year it'll happen, and we'll see what happens. But we are back. Welcome to the Rob John podcast. We are in episode 13. I'm glad to be back here, like I said earlier. And what a year so far. It's been a great time. Recently I just took a trip out to Thatcher Park. The autumn season, I remember the last time I've been there was I think it was like in the year 2020 when everything had went down, but I was given an opportunity to still go out there. And so like I said earlier, I just took a trip out there to Thatcher State Park. And it's a great park to visit if you ever come to the NY region. Be sure to check out Thatcher Park. It has great sceneries, great landscapes. It's a nice place to take your family and kids. They'll love it. They have it's a very iconic place in Thatcher Park, and it's called the Indian Ladder Trail. So basically, it's just like a long trail that you can walk, and it mostly has stairs, and it can give you nice views of like caves and cliffs. It almost reminds me of like a video game. I feel like I'm walking in some kind of adventure every time when I go to Thatcher Park. And it's, like I said, it's just a great place to visit. So if you have free time, whenever you get the chance, I recommend you. And Thatcher Park is very much a good place to visit. So when you get the chance and opportunity, take a trip out there, and I guarantee that you'll love it. So moving along, how many's into football? Football season had just started not too long ago, and I'm a Giants fan. Yep, Giants, so far they are doing good this year. I think their record is like they're 6-2, which is not bad. And one thing about the New York Giants is they are very much underdogs, very unpredictable. I got to give it up to that team because they really put in work and effort. I know last year they had a rough time and had many losses, but this year they had made up, and they are so far, mostly they are at a good streak. So hopefully they can continue to have a great journey this year. So they're not going to be playing today. I'm recording this podcast today. It's actually Sunday, and most of us know that it's football Sunday, and there's a lot of teams playing, but my Giants they are given a bye week this week. So their next game is going to be on November 13th, and they are going to be playing against the Titans. Reminds me of a great movie, which is a great film. It's called Remember the Titans. I believe it's like a great inspirational football film. And just seeing that film and hearing the story of what that particular, the actor who played the role in that film did a tremendous, wonderful job. If you're a football player, I encourage you to go watch that movie. There's another movie I like that's geared towards football, and I think it's called Facing the Giants. I believe it's a Christian film. That's another great story, by the way. I love like sports films that has like a great motivational story, a great inspirational story. It reminds you, and it almost makes you want to go out there and play a little football. How many of y'all remember when you was young and, being on the street playing football with your, cousins and friends and all that? I remember when I was young, we used to always play a game. It's called Killer Carrier. And I believe the game is like whoever has the football. So say like I have the football, and then so I will have to run and try not to get tackled or something like that. I don't know, but it was a game called Killer Carrier. That game was fun. It just brings back memories, brings back I'm getting great flashbacks of it right now. So yes, football season has arrived, and there should be some great games. I think Cowboys are actually playing today. I believe they're doing good this year as well. I remember back in the day, I used to be a Cowboys fan, and I remember growing up watching players like Emmitt Smith, a phenomenal player, by the way. The great quarterback, Troy Aikman. I believe he's like a NFL spokesman, and he does a great job. And I love when there's like legendary players that they're still a part of their sports journey. So many of them, they'll retire, and a way to keep up with the sport is that they'll like be announcers. I know, other players like Shaquille O'Neal, how he retired from the NBA. But believe it or not, he's a spokesman now as well. So back to what I was saying, I remember growing up watching players like Jerry Rice. He was another phenomenal player. Another player that I liked was Barry Sanders. Oh man, if you guys get a chance, you guys got to look up clips. I think you can go right on YouTube here and just click in Barry Sanders, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Man, that guy is just phenomenal. He'll literally be they'll punt the ball or kick the ball or whatever. He'll catch it and just run the whole field, and his moves was just unpredictable. You'll never know which way he's gonna go. He was so quick and so swift, and by the time he's at the end zone, he'll be at the other side scoring a touchdown, and it's just like him. You know what I mean? He'll be breaking tackles and just, wow, what a phenomenal player. Shout out to Barry Sanders, man. I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but he might be a spokesman or something like that. But I know he's probably carrying being impacted by the game of football that he played. So wonderful player right there, Barry Sanders, man. All right, so recently I just launched a brief clothing line. It's not like commercial or anything. Right now it's just for me, and I feel very good about that. I don't really want to commercialize my brand, but I have a clothing brand, a clothing line, just to, promote my content and so forth. So as you notice, the hat I got on, it says RJ Apparel Company 22. So the company 22 symbolizes that I really just launched this line this year, in the year of 2022. I remember I briefly, actually it started back in 2017. And as you can see right here, I have my hat. It's called Soul City. So in front of it, that symbolizes one of my first records. And most of you know that I'm a music artist, hip hop artist, if you will. And this hat is inspired by one of the first records I made called Soul City. And when you get a chance, you can look up that music video. I did a music visual to that song as well. If you're listening to this on audio, you're not going to be able to see it. So I'm going to post this on my YouTube channel titled The Rob Pod, and you can check it out there. So watch this podcast video after you hear or after you hear the audio, whatever, and go check out this music video as well. So yeah, RJF Apparel. If you notice, I have a t-shirt, and it's goes perfect with this, and it's the Rob John Podcast. So basically, I have my logo right here, and on the bottom it says Rob John Podcast. If you look right here, I have like a sticker imprinted on my my little decor right here. So I'm just branding this right here. On the side of my speakers, I have another Rob John Podcast sticker as well. So that's one thing about the podcast journey, or if you're like a content creator, if you want to take this seriously, you want to be able to, brand yourself. So when people see you, they'll be like, oh man, this guy means business. Or oh man, if you're a girl content creator, they'll be like, oh man, she means serious business, because they have their brand, they have their clothing line. So like you notice in front of my laptop, I have my Rob John Podcast logo right here, so that way you guys can see it and you'll see that taking this seriously. So I have another t-shirt. So I have a black and a white logo brand imprinted on the front of this t-shirt. So this is the black version right here. So I'll pull up the white t-shirt. All right, so as you can see, this is the white t-shirt that's available just for me right now. So exclusive just for me right now. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to really commercialize it. I'm not going to try to be like a Kanye West. I'm not really a big artist or a big content creator. So this is just good for me, keeping it to myself. But at the same time, I want to be able to brand my content as well. So Rob John Podcast, this is like a fall lineup. So I have a hat right here. This is like a navy blue hat, and you can see this one says RJF Apparel. Whatever company made this, they did a very good job right here. I love the white strip on the bottom of this. It kind of gives the hat like a retro, kind of casual, but also it looks crisp, man. They did a great job on the logo. It's very flush when you touch it. It's like really good quality. It's like a hard padding, but it's very nice. They did a good job with this logo right here. So far that's my clothing line brand, and I'm going to be looking forward to coming out with more pieces, maybe, different themes, coming up with like a winter theme, and by the next year of 2023 I should have more lineups and so forth. Oh, that's the thing about talking, especially on a podcast. You want to be able to take breaks and get your fluid in. I'm just drinking tea so it can help me have a great time or produce quality voice on this as well. So moving along. So also I updated my website. And once upon a time it used to be titled Rob John Music, but right now I have switched it over and now it is titled and called Rob John Network. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, which is the Rob Pod, at the beginning of this video, you're going to notice my logo branding, which is called, and you'll see Rob John Network. And it has like the global icon right there. So that just symbolizes I'm going to be reaching out and making this podcast reach all across the world. I have like a few people that's from the African region that watches this show, a few people that's from, India, and, all over the globe. People are tuning into this show right here, which is my show called The Rob Pod, and that's the Rob John Podcast. So like I said earlier, I updated my website, and let me see if I can go to it real quick. I'll pull it up. So it's www.robjohnnetwork. Let me just see if I can pull it up. And voila. So when you click on my site, you'll notice at the top it'll have my Rob John Network logo, and it kind of like blends right on in. Nice transition right there. So if you scroll on the top right corner, you'll notice there's like 3 lines and you can click on that. So most of you will probably, you can probably view this on your mobile devices. I'm pretty sure if you guys have smartphones. And so if you click on that 3 dot icon, let me see if I can show you. I'll pull it up. So you see how it says Rob John Network? And right here in the corner, just click on that and you'll see all the content that I make. So I'll just go through it real quick. So the first one, for the most part, it's my Rob John Music digital platforms. That's a place where you can hear and listen to all my music. I got about like 4 main projects. Raps of Life, which I made first. The second one was Going Further. That's a short EP. I think it has about like 4 tracks on there. I remember I made that in the autumn season a few years back, or fall, if you will. And one of my first tracks I recorded, like I said earlier, was Soul City, which is on my Soul City hat right here, the inspiration behind that song. And there's another main single I made, which was titled No Matter What. It's like a great motivational song just to, encourage people to keep going in life no matter what. And I briefly give like a story, or I talk in third person of how, explaining like the struggles of life. But the main message of that song, what I'm giving out, is just to keep going no matter what in life. So if you get a chance, go check out that song, and you can check it out right on my website. So also I have my Rob John music videos and the Rob John podcast right there, and Rob John apparel clothing line, which I mentioned earlier. And then I have my Rob John F photography content, so you can check out my photographs that I do. And basically I'm using it on my like social media platforms to, showcase my photography work and so forth. So mainly of my photography work, it really consists of, nature photos, landscapes. There's a few people from my Rob John photography from Instagram. It's called Rob John Photos. So if you get a chance, you can follow me on there. That's at Rob John Photo, and that is Instagram. So there's a few followers that follow my content on there, and they also listen to my show, the Rob Pod. So go check it out when you get a chance. So I've really been getting into, doing films and documentaries. So far, I believe I have like 5 documentaries that I released this year. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick. Let me just scroll to my YouTube channel, Rob John Music. Go to my videos. So I did, remember when I said earlier, I took a trip out to Thatcher Park. I did a film documentary called Thatcher State Park Documentary / Walkthrough. And I basically give you a tour of Thatcher Park, and it really came out great. There's another film documentary that I did, which is titled Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Click on it real quick. So it's Cape Cod, Massachusetts documentary. And that was released about a month ago. I did another documentary of the Pine Bush Reserve documentary. It's another state trail up here in New York, and I give you a quick tour of that as well. Great, another place to visit. Has great, wonderful landscape, sceneries, and so on. So I have another documentary it's called Miami Paradise South Beach. And I remember I always wanted to take a trip out there to Miami South Beach, and very great region, I have to say. I'll see if I can post all the links to my documentaries in this video podcast as well, so you guys can check that out. And the last documentary I released was about 3 months ago, and that is the Mike Tyson fight Cage Wars event, which was in Albany, New York. And that was, I remember I went there this past summer, and I got a chance. I really didn't meet Mike Tyson, but I got a chance to see him, face to face. I remember actually I told this story I want to say I told this story on my recent podcast. I don't know, but I'll just quickly share it again. I remember I was at that event and watching all the firefighters in Cage Wards. So they gave a special, dedication ceremony for Mike Tyson, and I remember him walking back to the commentator booth, and I turn around, and do you know who's the person that I see looking at me? It's Mike Tyson. So I basically give him like a brief nod, and he gives me a nod back. And that was just like a great acknowledgement from Mike Tyson. Very humble dude, great story. If you ever have a chance, look up his documentaries on YouTube. You can see how he came up in the sport of boxing and, the kind of rough background that he came from. So also he has a podcast show as well, which is titled Hot Boxing. So check that out if you get a chance. And that's by Mike Tyson. So great documentary that I was very glad to make that documentary as well. So other than that, my website is updated and it's now Rob John Network. And this is episode 13. It feels good to be back. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your year and your journey of life. And feel free to follow me on my social media platforms. I'll make sure I'll be able to share them in my podcast video here, and also my audio one as well. So episode 13, I am going to sign out. I want to give a shout out to you guys. Shout out to y'all that tunes in to watch my podcast episode here, and feel free to look out for more content that I'll be sharing in the near future. So enjoy your holidays that's coming up. Enjoy your time with your families. Love you guys. You guys take care and be safe. Rob John Podcast. Take care.